Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to another enlightening episode on the Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are diving into a topic that's not only close to my heart, but could also change the very fabric of our world. How meditation and mindfulness can save the planet. Imagine a world where calmness replaces chaos and collective consciousness guides us toward solutions for our most pressing challenges. Our guest today is Tom Cronin, a former finance powerhouse turned meditation maestro who has passion for inspiring 1 billion people to find stillness in their lives through the Stillness Project. After facing his own battles with anxiety and a nervous breakdown, Tom discovered the transformative power of meditation, and now he shares his wisdom with global giants like Amazon and Coca Cola. And he's even produced a hit film called The Portal. So let's get ready to explore how mindfulness can be the key to not just personal well being, but also planetary healing. So, Tom, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
It's great to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity and for inviting me along.
So, your journey from the chaos of finance to the calm of meditation, I mean, it's totally two different worlds out there, and it's really inspiring. So, what was that pivotal moment when you realized you needed to change your path?
Yeah, the universe kind of beat it into me. It was a really dark night of the soul. And when we have crisis, usually when we're in the crisis, we don't realize that the crisis is an opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's a message, a signal for us to change and grow. So I went into a really dark place when I was a broker. I had a lot of addictions. I was extremely stressed. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks. And this morphed into a deep, dark depression, even to the point of contemplating whether I wanted to continue on with life. And it was in that time that I got a signal from the universe, and it was really just watching TV, and I was watching a documentary about a property developer. And there was a little glimpse in that documentary how he used meditation, particularly a style of meditation called transcendental meditation, as a tool for his stress management. And that was like a light bulb moment for me. I realized at that point when I saw him sitting in that chair meditating in his suit, and this is something I've never come across in my life. I thought, well, this is something that I really need in my life. And so that was the starting point where I started to explore meditation and all the different styles of meditation. And it was a real game changer for me. It really changed my life in a big way.
Wow. That's a very, very interesting journey, Tom. So can you explain for our listeners what the Stillness Project is and how it aims to inspire 1 billion people to embrace stillness?
Well, what I noticed when I learned to do this particular style of meditation, look, and I did try lots of other meditations, and I didn't find that they managed to have the same effect as the Vedic meditation or transcendental meditation that I was doing. And that's because I wasn't getting deep enough, and with the TM and the VM, I was getting much, much deeper, and that was really changing my body and my mind and my emotional state from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic. And all of those anomalies, the anxiety, the panic attacks, the depression, the insomnia, the agoraphobia, a lot of my colds and flus and sicknesses, physical sicknesses, just started to melt away. And some of it was really quite rapid in the first week. And I just was mind blown how, and not really mind blown, mind expanded as to how effective this technique was, just sitting in a chair, closing my eyes, repeating this primordial vibration or strange sound. And everything changing in my inner world. But then not only did I notice my inner world changing, but that started to change my outer world as well. And I realized then that as time went on and I saw more and more of the impact, not just on me, but other peers and colleagues that were starting to use this technique of meditation, that this could be a game changer on the planet. And so that's when we created the Stillness Project with that vision, where I saw so many of the world's problems and anomalies being caused by the state of consciousness and the state of physiology that we have in the world. And if we can change that, then we can change the world.
Definitely. That's really, really crazy. So, in your experience, how can meditation contribute to tackling global issues, such as climate change or social injustice? Just in the context of what we as an entire humanity we are currently facing.
The way I see it is that it will change every aspect of our world if we get everyone on the planet meditating, and not just meditating, but really starting to get deeper into the full potential of what it is to be human. And one thing we know that's possible for humans, because we've seen it and known about it for thousands of years, is that we have the capacity to be enlightened. And one thing I realized as I went deeper and deeper into spirituality and the philosophy that comes with it is that there's no one that's excluded from that potential. And it comes down to what Malcolm Gladwell wrote in his book, The Outliers, the 10,000 hour principle. The only difference between an enlightened person and a non-enlightened person is the dedication of time to realizing that potential or that experience. We allocate a lot of time to scrolling. We allocate a lot of time to shopping. We allocate a lot of time to drinking. We allocate a lot of time to watching TV. We allocate a lot of time to working and making money. And these things, some of them we need to do, but we all have preferential treatment with our time. And most of that time we dedicate in part to trying to satiate some unsatiable desires. And when you look at an enlightened person, they have this incredible sense of unity and connection with other. And when I say other, not just other humans, but other plants and the universe, because they experience themselves as the unified field. In the enlightened state, you actually don't experience yourself as an individual, separated, segregated, egoic identity. You actually experience yourself as part of a unified field. And you also have this state where we tend to find, usually, not always, but usually with an enlightened person, they don't have this constant craving to buy more things and to fly to more places. The idea that if I get on a plane and go to Cancun and sit on a deck chair and drink a pina colada, I'm going to find more fulfillment. This is what we call outcome-oriented fulfillment, where we do require experiences, acquisitions, and outcomes to attain a level of fulfillment. But with an enlightened person, what we tend to find is that they have such an arising of fulfillment from within, such heightened levels of bliss and love within themselves and heightened joy within themselves that are completely independent of any need for anything else outside of them, that they live very simple lives because there's nothing that could contribute more to their bliss than the bliss that they're already experiencing. And so for that reason, we tend to find that the idea of shopping for something that is manufactured in China that needs to get on a plane or a ship to get all the way over to their particular destination in Australia or America to get some degree of fulfillment is just kind of almost absurd when you think of it. So when we have more enlightened people on the planet, we'll see that consumerism drop off quite substantially. You'll see the need for constant travel drop off quite substantially. We'll see that need for putting a lot of toxic things into our body like drugs, drinks and unhealthy food drop off quite substantially. And the ripple effect for that over time will be phenomenal. Of course, there'll be some ramifications because the global economic model would not sustain itself under that particular model because the global economic model is built on consumption and people being unhappy and unhealthy. But we would have to come up with a new economic model. And I think that that's something that people will start to explore once we get more fulfilled people.
This is out of mind, but something I think I totally relate with that minimalistic, simplistic approach of even just living your life or becoming mindful of your purpose or getting that feeling of fulfillment. So I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you on that. Oh, wow. So you
We
have
covered
worked,
some big ground already, haven't we? We're straight
yeah,
into it.
lovely. This is really, really, really great. Really great. And you have worked with major corporations like Amazon and Coca-Cola. How do you see mindfulness practices impacting corporate culture and productivity?
Well, initially, mindfulness and meditation was the domain of people trying to find enlightenment or spiritual awakening. But when it traversed across the seas from the east to the west, and the West started to find that there was this technique that could optimize the human brain and increase efficiency and productivity and reduce absenteeism, then they started to realize that it was a valuable asset to increase bottom lines of companies. But also we're seeing companies themselves become more mindful and more conscious themselves as the people that run these companies are also starting to think more coherently, collectively. How can they support and enhance the workplace for their staff? And this is a really exciting time that we're in, where we're seeing more and more organizations starting to think not just about how much money can they make and what they have as a response to their shareholders, but we're seeing more companies really contemplating and taking action on what is their overall ripple effect on society, not just with their staff, but also with the products that they make and the impact that they're having on the society.
Correct.
So I think that there's two things with mindfulness and meditation in organizations. One is that it can help definitely increase productivity, efficiency, and of course, as a result, bottom line for companies. But I think also where we're at in the world with staff reportedly becoming more and more stressed and overwhelmed, that it's definitely making a huge impact on helping alleviate some of the major problems that we're seeing on a personal level with individuals. And you've got to remember that there's not one company in the world that's a logo, a brand, or a bottom line. Every company in the world is a group of people, and it could be one person or it could be 10,000 people, but it's still individuals that collectively come together to make that company exist. And so the state of those individuals is going to be critical on, I think, the longevity and the well-being of that company itself.
And you have written 6 books, Tom, and also produced a documentary, The Portal. How do these projects contribute to the broader conversation about mindfulness and its benefits? And I'm very sure our listeners, but I am very eager to know what aspects do you uncover in your documentary, The Portal?
The Portal, we'll start with that one because it was the last component to the question. And The Portal was inspired by my journey of crisis, and then let's just call it crisis, then chrysalis. So chrysalis is that alchemization, that transformation that happens where the caterpillar morphs into the butterfly. And crisis is actually the prelude to chrysalis, because it's a trigger mechanism. It's a mechanism to enact change. And it's usually the prelude to change. Now, crisis and suffering continues on if we don't adapt, if we don't change. So it's actually not there to punish us. It's not there because we're bad or evil. It's not there because, the universe has forgotten us. It's there to remind us and to prompt us, to encourage and inspire us to do something different, to change, to adapt. And that's what happened for me. I had a dark night, and ideally we don't want to wait till we get to crisis. We want to preempt crisis, and we usually get a lot of signals from the universe. There's Kriya and Karma. So Karma is the response to not acting or not changing, and Karma, as Kriya, is the reminder to change. And so Kriya is the prelude to crisis, and if we can tune into the message that's coming and adapt before we get to crisis, then we stave off crisis. But if we don't adapt, and then the universe needs crisis to get us to adapt and change, then it will use crisis as a mechanism to encourage or inspire that change. And that's unfortunately where I got to. I'm Scorpio, so I'm very stubborn. And so I needed quite a cataclysmic moment before I decided to do something different than what I was doing. And so we wanted to showcase the importance of crisis in our film, and we have 6 individual stories that have all gone through crisis, and then they adapted using mindfulness and meditation to shift their perspective on the world, to break free of the shackles of the karmic residue of the life that they're in, and free themselves of any association or attachment to the past, where they can have like a clean slate and start to live a new life. It doesn't matter who they are or what crisis they've been through or what turmoil or mayhem they've experienced. Everyone has this capacity for alchemy. We wanted to showcase that in the film with these incredibly powerful stories. But we also showcase the potential looming crisis for humanity, and that we keep getting some signals that we need to adapt and change. We can't keep doing what we're doing. We're on a trajectory to walking off a cliff if we don't change the course that we're on. And so we sort of look at what a global, the potential for global crisis and what that would mean. But really, it's always just a prelude to some significant evolutionary force. So the portal was really made to, I guess, inspire people to find, if they're in a dark place or a difficult place, to know that there is an alternative, there's another way forward. And for me, I found meditation one of the most powerful tools to help me move out of that dark time. And the books and the film were really just mediums for conveying the message, and part of the Stillness Project. I do it through teacher training programs, through meditation courses, through running retreats, through working with corporates and doing keynote presentations. But I thought I'd just throw in the mix, films and books as well, as another way to get the message out to the world that, hey, meditation's a really powerful tool. We should all have it in some way, shape or form in our life on a daily basis. And if we do, our lives won't be perfect. Certainly mine's not perfect, and I'm not perfect. I'm still learning and growing, but it certainly makes us, I think, a better human being, but also live a better life as well.
Yeah. This is really, really very profound. And what are some misconceptions about meditation that you encounter, Tom? And how do you address them?
I think the two main ones are, I don't have enough time, or it's too hard, I can't do it. And the way I address them both is, firstly, with time. We all have 24 hours in a day, and each hour has 3 portions of 20 minutes, which means there's 72 20-minute segments of time in our day. And every segment of time is allocated for every human being on the planet, no matter what they're doing right now, in the quest to find more fulfillment. And that's whether we're cleaning the bathroom floor, or working in a tin cannery, or going to the gym, or going to the beach, watching a film on Netflix. We all action is motivated to find fulfillment. And this is what we call outcome-oriented fulfillment. And the problem with outcome-oriented fulfillment is it's very unsustainable, it's very fleeting, and more often than not, it doesn't meet our expectation. And so we're left in a state of, being unfulfilled, and therefore we need more things and more activities to get fulfilled again. But if we take a small portion of time out of our day and just take 20 minutes, that's just one of the 72 20-minute segments of time. Ideally, I suggest 2 20-minute segments. So you still have 70 20-minute segments of time in your day to do all the other things you're doing. But what I found when I put 2 aside of those 20-minute blocks, we get what's called self-referred fulfillment, and that's a fulfillment that arises from within. And that's because we have increased levels of serotonin and oxytocin in our blood, which is a byproduct of meditating. And so these bliss chemicals start to get cultivated more and more in our body. And I get a lot of my students saying to me, I don't know what it is, but I just feel happy today, and I don't even know why. And that's because their biochemical has changed, not because they've acquired something or done something, as far as gone to the horse races or, they've watched something on Netflix. It's because they've put their body into a state that activates more serotonin and oxytocin. So fulfillment becomes a blissful arising within the body as a result of the meditation. So firstly, getting them to understand what time is for them and what they're doing with their time and why they're doing what they do with their time, and helping them prioritize stillness as the source of fulfillment rather than activity as the source of fulfillment really helps them allocate that time and attention to meditation. The second thing is, when it comes to I don't think I can do it, or I tried to do it, is to help them understand that not all meditations are the same. And why I choose to practice transcendental meditation or Vedic meditation, and why I teach it, is because out of all the research I did, I found it to be just the most accessible and the quickest and easiest to getting into those deeper states. There's something powerful about the Bij mantra, It's these mantras or primordial vibrations that we use. It does all the work for you. You don't have to try to meditate. You don't have to force it or concentrate. You just have to gently repeat the mantra inside your mind, and it will just do all the work for you. So it's kind of like if you want to get to a destination, you can walk, you can ride a bike, or you can get an Uber, and the Uber driver will do all the work for you. You just sit in the back and you can sit comfortably and relax and let them take you to your destination. That's kind of what the mantra does. I think of it like a mind Uber.
Lovely, lovely. And Tom, before we wrap up, while mindfulness is associated with calm and clarity, can it also stir up some uncomfortable emotions? So, how should individuals navigate those challenges in their meditation practice?
It's a really good question, and it's something that's not often discussed, but it's very much the case that when we put the mind and hence the body into deep rest, and that's what happens when we go into what's called transcendence. Transcendence means to go beyond thinking. And when we're in that very deep mindful rest that comes with deep meditation, the physiology drops metabolically, some say up to 4 times deeper than sleep. And there's a natural inclination in the body when it's in deep rest to start healing and start repairing and start restoring balance. And there's a beautiful intelligence within the body. If we think about a cast on a leg that's broken, if you take a broken leg and you put a cast around it, now the cast itself is not actually fixing the leg. The cast is only creating stillness so that the leg can actually start healing itself. So we know the body's intelligence is there to heal and restore balance, given the appropriate level of stillness. And we've also found through science that when we go into deep meditation, we are going into a level of physiological metabolic rest that's 4 times deeper than sleep. And so the body then starts to identify where there's a problem, identify what's in the system that shouldn't be in the system, and it starts to clear that out and release it. And we get this every night when we're falling asleep. Some of the listeners might notice when they're falling asleep, they'll get that twitch or spasm sometimes, and that's the body releasing maybe some adrenaline or cortisol in a stress release that happens when you're going into deep rest. And so sometimes you can find that, particularly on our retreats, when we do retreats, we're putting them into deeper and deeper states of rest over longer periods of time. And that allows those really deep levels of stresses, so traumas, sadness, anger, grief, shame, fear, all start to clear out of the body, because that's not your natural state. Your natural state is actually enlightenment, which is bliss, love, and joy. And so anything that's not that is something that's accumulated or inputted into you from either this lifetime or previous lifetime experiences that have been handed down genetically through your parents. And so we want to clear that toxic residue out. And the best way we've found to do it is to put the body into deep rest, and that sometimes will stir up some of these emotions that have been sitting stagnantly in the body. So we just let the students know that it's a healthy clearing, to not get entangled in it, to allow the releasing of it, and to just let it just melt away and not get entangled or identify with it.
Wow, that's a great explanation, Tom. And finally, if our listeners, they want to connect with you or access your documentary, the portal, explore more resources about how meditation can, save the planet, how they can do that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone that's been listening. You can find me on Instagram at Tom Cronin, or one word, TomCronin, and they can reach out to me. I respond to all my messages, and great to hear from the community. You can go to my website as well, which is one word, Tom Cronin, and tomcronin.com. And they can find my meditation programs, which we're now running all around the world on Zoom as well as in person, and my retreats, which will be running around the world as well. We have USA, Dubai, Australia, and Bali. So they can find all of that on my website, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Lovely. We have all the details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners. And Tom, thank you so much. That was such an enlightening and profound conversation we had today. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for listening in, everyone, and sharing space with us. And thanks for inviting me along today. It's been great to have a conversation with you.
And listeners, Tom has shown us that meditation isn't just a personal refuge. It is a powerful tool for collective transformation. And as we navigate through the chaos of life, Tom's insights remind us that finding stillness can lead to clarity, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. And if you're inspired by Tom's story and want to explore more about how meditation can change your life, be sure to check out his projects and resources or connect with Tom. You can refer the show notes along with this episode. And thank you to everyone for joining us on this enlightening episode of The Mindful Living. Don't forget to subscribe, share, or leave us a review. And until next time, keep seeking stillness and let's make this world a better place for real together. Thank you.